Illinois Public Media News, this is 217 Today. I'm Kimberly Schofield. It's Wednesday, September 4th. Coming up, we'll learn more about the latest COVID-19 surge and what you need to know about the new vaccines approved by the FDA. That story in just a few minutes, but first, these headlines. This morning, Urbana police will be stepping up patrols around schools after someone tried to lure a child. The department says a man driving a dark SUV tried to lure a child walking home from school yesterday afternoon along East Michigan Avenue. The child ignored the man and made it home safely. Homeowners with surveillance footage that may contain the images of the suspect's vehicle are asked to share with Urbana police. An attorney representing Illinois gun owners says he's feeling hopeful after a federal judge in Rockford found that a section of the state's concealed carry law is unconstitutional. Mawa Iqbal reports.
District Judge Ian Johnston ruled that stopping people with concealed carry permits from carrying guns on public transit violates their Second Amendment rights. David Segal is the lawyer representing the plaintiffs who brought this suit in 2022.
The state is going to have to act accordingly. It obviously cannot enforce an unconstitutional law or even keep it on the books.
He's also working on a lawsuit challenging the state's ban on semi-automatic firearms. A bench trial for that case is scheduled for mid-September at the district court in East St. Louis. I'm Mawa Iqbal.
A key abortion clinic in downstate Illinois for out-of-state patients is trying to figure out how to close a big financial gap. Kristen Schorsch reports.
Around 80% of patients who go to Hope Clinic travel from other states. National abortion funds covered a lot of the cost, but several of these funds have cut back or ended altogether. Hope's co-owner Chelsea Souter says they're managing week to week.
We're really just trying to really cobble what we can together and fill every gap. But the reality is we can't. I am fearful of what that means for the sustainability of clinics like ours and for people's access.
An abortion in the first 3 months of pregnancy typically costs around $500. The Guttmacher Institute says more people traveled to Illinois last year than to any other state for an abortion. Kristen Schorsch, WBEZ News.
Chicago's top federal judge says the publication this year of home addresses for members of the federal bench is dangerous. Dave McKinney has more.
WBEZ has found that a company called Local Government Information Services revealed home addresses for dozens of judges. The firm, which pushes election skepticism, is being sued by the Illinois Attorney General for allegedly publishing restricted voter roll data. U.S. District Judge Virginia Kendall is condemning the release of judges' home addresses when threats against the federal judiciary have more than doubled.
I don't see any reason why the public needs to know the private address of an individual, especially in this climate when we see this increase in threats going against the judiciary.
The company has denied wrongdoing. Dave McKinney, WBEZ News.
Still to come, we'll learn more about the latest COVID-19 surge and what you need to know about the new vaccines approved by the FDA. That story is coming up next on 217 Today.
Next time on the 21st show, John Coleman is Provost or Chief Academic Officer at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. We'll talk about free speech on campus, the role for universities in civic education, and how big schools are navigating a society deeply divided by politics. I'm Brian Mackey. That's next time on the 21st show. Join us.
You're listening to 217 Today. I'm Kimberly Schofield. The Food and Drug Administration recently approved 2 updated COVID-19 vaccines to help protect people from the latest strain of the virus. So, should you get the new booster? SideEffects Public Media's community engagement specialist, Lizzie McGreevy, sat down with health reporter Ben Thorpe, based at WFYI in Indianapolis, to talk about the new COVID booster and an uptick in the disease.
The Food and Drug Administration last week approved 2 updated COVID-19 vaccines to help protect people from the latest strain of the virus. Today's checkup question is, should I get the newest COVID vaccine? I'm Lizzie McGreevy, SideEffects Public Media Community Engagement Specialist, and I'm joined today by health reporter Ben Thorpe.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, just thinking about COVID and trying to figure out if we should get this booster. So I'm hoping that you can start us off by talking about why do we even need a COVID booster right now?
Yeah, so right now we're seeing a spike in COVID activity across the country. Nationwide test positivity has been climbing and is currently at about 18%. Here in Indiana, we've been seeing hospitalizations for COVID picking up, going from a 7-day average of about 29 at the start of June to about 200 here at the end of August. Dr. Mandy Cohen is the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. She says immunity from previous infections provides some protection, but vaccines are still really important for us to get.
We know that protection decreases over time, and certain groups continue to be at higher risk from COVID and other viruses, and we need to continue to protect ourselves and our loved ones.
The other thing worth mentioning is Cohen says COVID mutates faster than the traditional flu virus, which is why staying ahead of it is so important.
Okay, so the mutating seems important. Does that mean that the COVID boosters that are coming out are targeted for the latest mutation of this disease?
That's a great question. They're actually not. These latest boosters are aimed at something called the KP2 variant. And right now we're on KP311 variant, which, just based on basic numbers, you can probably tell comes later. But right now that one is the most prominent variant here in the U.S.
Okay. Those sound like Apple operating system updates to me, but I will trust you with that.
Yeah, they really do, don't they?
So our vaccines are for the older variant. Is that going to be an issue? Are we going to be protected against newer variants?
So experts say that the vaccines are still going to provide some defense here. Right now, all of these variants are evolutions of the Omicron COVID variant. And so because our vaccines are targeted to something that's in a similar family, let's say, it should still provide some defense. Dr. Peter Marks is the director of the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research at the Food and Drug Administration. He says the concern right now isn't that vaccines won't provide defense against new mutations. It's that people aren't getting their vaccines at all.
So I think the point of this campaign is that if you have someone in the office and you can get them to get a COVID-19 vaccine, that is probably better even than what we have now, which is people who haven't had a COVID-19 vaccine for 1 or 2 years.
All right, so you've spoken to experts, you've given me some data. I am ready to go. How do I get my vaccine?
Yeah, so I reached out to our local health department, and they are telling people to check in with their local pharmacies to see who might have access to it already. They're also reminding people to get that regular flu shot, which you're talking about, Lizzie, while they are there. Melissa McMasters is a registered nurse at the Marion County Public Health Department in Indianapolis and the administrator of the Immunization and Infectious Disease Program. She says they don't have the vaccine just yet.
And as soon as we do have the vaccine available, we'll put out a release about that.
And right now, anyone older than 6 months is recommended to get that vaccine.
Ben, thank you for that timely update as we are approaching flu and it seems like COVID vaccine season. I will be in line to get my COVID vaccine when my pharmacy has it, so I appreciate these updates.
Side Effects Public Media is a health reporting collaboration of NPR member stations across the Midwest. It's based at WFYI in Indianapolis. And finally, in your forecast, meteorologist Andrew Pritchard says today will be sunny with a high of 84 degrees. That's it for today. 2 and 7 Today is produced by Stephanie Mosqueda. Reporting today contributed by Reginald Hardwick, Mawa Iqbal, Kristen Schorsch, Dave McKinney, and Ben Thorpe. Music by the Kilbourne Alley Blues Band. Reginald Hardwick is our news director. I'm Kimberly Schofield. 2 and 7 Today is a production of Illinois Public Media. Thanks for listening, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.